everybody, it's Corey at the Reset Girl, and I am here to show you my flip through for the winter edition of the Crafty Club Playbook. I actually have all the spreads completed except for one. And I decided not to, postpone making this video to do that spread. I decided I would just, do it later when I have time, which is the great part about the Crafty Club Playbook is that although it's structured with, time in terms of like, here's a season, here's a specific month, and here's a specific week of activities for you to do. Obviously, there's like the opportunity to go back and do it later when you have more time. In fact, during winter, I did a lot of the crafting in it in about one or two big crafting sessions. I also worked on it during the late night crafty club show, which is one of the great things too about the book is that I have a whole video, like a live video show just to support doing crafting in your book. You can come bring your book to the show, sit there in your jammies with all your little craft supplies and get crafty with me. So I'm going to go ahead and dive on in. Like I talked about in the original video where I introduced this, I discussed where I got my cover. I linked below. I'll be linking below those things, but I go into more detail about this. And also I got a tip that this is like a poly cover. And if this kind of material is something that might be found at like the dollar store, I think somebody mentioned that it's like a cutting board material at the dollar store and that you could punch it. This was a comment left in my previous video about the spring edition. So I'm going to go and check that out because if that's true, that would make this so much easier to recreate versus what I did, which was to buy a whole notebook product. So here's the cover, which comes with all of the Crafty Club Playbook editions, and it pretty much is very similar to what you'll see in the spring as well. They'll all look the same. This is where it starts to look different. We have a little desk scene here, and then these are the honeys for the opening spread. And there's a little journaling prompt, which I completed. And then here is the winter story, and then the Dear Winter letter. So in this case, I just covered it up I sprinkled a lot of embellishments on the page and then wrote around them. So they're like little speed bumps. And this kind of helped make you feel like you had less writing to do. At least it did for me. I tend to do stuff like this, is sprinkle things randomly and then write around them. So I really enjoyed this. This is the one spread I had not completed yet. I plan on using this little sketch in this somehow, even if I have to like shrink this down. This is the original concept for our winter camp, which we did not officially launch, but I have like the whole website built for it. So these are the locations on the little camp map. So this was a big part of my winter that I was working on in December and January. So I kind of wanted to find a way to incorporate that into this page. So in this spread, you are sharing for winter, what is your favorite washi? And then what are your favorite punches? So I went ahead and laid out washi. I punched random paper and made a little design with it here, and then embellished it with stickers and word strips. And then here are the first spread of the honeys. So in winter, we're still in winter, for the month of January, this is the very first January spread, there will be a page of honeys that you color, and then your documenting page. This documenting page is slightly different than in the spring. It was kind of a bit more like general documenting, so we went back and kind of tweaked it, so it's a little more creating and crafty for spring versus how it was in this issue. And then I decided to create clothes for the girls. Now, I'll be honest, in January, I didn't have this idea. I actually had colored them in with pencil, and I absolutely didn't like it. Mostly because I had all of this on the back side, and it caused a lot of like pattern to show through once I colored the pencil on. So I actually came and did this in March. I made them clothes, which is really fun because as you work through your book and you discover that you like doing different things, you can always go back and adjust and tweak things, which is what I did here. I had a lot of fun making these clothes for them. This is like a playing card that looks like a little farm, and this is like a bus ticket. And I just well, I did it really difficult. I did it the difficult way, and I won't do it that way again. But the next time I have to do clothes like this, which will be something I demonstrate during Camp WannaCraft, which is our summer craft camp coming up. I'm going to be doing a whole activity, a video around doing this particular project because this was a lot of fun. I had so much fun doing these clothes. It made me wish that I had more of them to do. So here are the lists, and you'll notice that they're much longer here on this spread than they were for the spring edition. It kind of bothered me that there was so much white space, and even though I was productive and had something for each list, that's just a lot of waste. So that's why we reconfigured the list and made them shorter, like smaller little library cards for the spring edition. But I learned something here. So I just filled in that with washi and stickers. And then here was my bingo, which back in January was just a bunch of markers, like with a hot pink marker and yellow. So I went back and covered all of that up, the ones that I had done with stickers and punches, and I love it so much more. So that is what I ended up figuring out to do in March. Like I said, I actually wasn't very, I didn't do a whole lot in January. I actually had to go back and complete a lot of it later. For some reason, I was more focused on creating the winter camp than I was working on my book. So here is something I smashed in, which is this little A5 sheet with the honey on it. That was one of the prompts, was smashing something into your book, so that counted for me. Here's Help Sammy Reach Her Goal. It was a maze to get to the goal. This is as much of this spread as I completed. It's gratituding, and so I should have filled out something for every day, but like I said, I wasn't very consistent in January. Here are my 2 memory keeping spreads. These aren't even things that happened during the month of January. Again, I went back and created things later, and I'm fine with that. It doesn't bother me that I did them later. If you're, on top of things, you could absolutely keep this consistent with what happened during that month. This was my first art journaling spread for January, and I did this page in the first Late Night Crafty Club episode that introduced the playbook. So it was very woo, I covered the whole page, and I added my little journaling up here. This particular one, I was trying to experiment with more white space and layering, and the journaling came on this little pocket card, little library card. I was printing out pictures of projects that I really loved on Pinterest. I trimmed them out and kind of incorporated them here on my page. This is another page I was trying to be more about the white space and experimenting, doing my journaling on these little strips versus writing it out. I love, love, love this page. I focused on color here, using an unusual card that really doesn't have anything to do with what I wrote here. But I loved the color here, so I wanted to include that with this little collage. Here's the journaling for this one. This particular, you can see here where the prompts are. This is what life looks like. Here's winter mood. I picked out the prompts sometimes after I did the pages, and I just, found a prompt that would work. This one was forgiveness. I felt like she had the perfect expression to kind of talk about that for an art journaling page. She just looked a little sheepish, a little reflective, one of the two. Here's another page I had so much fun with. This is actually a page from a library book, like an old library book that somebody ripped all the pages out of the front that had the pocket. So I bought a bunch of these pages on Etsy, and I've been using them in my art journaling like this. This one is Glitter Girl. This one is Renew. And I just really wanted to use this text piece. It's on vellum. I wanted to use that in my stash, so that was the journaling. And then there's this little extra little tag with a pocket that I added here. This is currently, and I happen to have this in my stash. This is the map of Washington, where I technically live. If I had a permanent address, that's where it would be. That's where we'll be returning to and spending all of our summer with, because of our kids all live there. Here we go. Here is February. So I was very good in February. I did all the crafting in February during February. And this is the first time I experimented making the clothes for them out of paper. And I absolutely loved how it turned out. This is what made me a believer. Like, this is so much fun making. Maybe it's all the Project Runway I've watched, but I just really, really, really loved making clothes for them. Here's my documented page for February. Here is my lists for February, which I was pretty good about longer lists. Here is the really super fun bingo sheet that I did. These bingo prompts are so easy to complete. During one episode of the Late Night Crafty Club, when I was working on the book live on camera, in that 2 to 3 hours, I think I like covered like half of my bingo markers, like bingo spots. So it's easier than it seems, and they're very, very motivating to help like get you going through here. Here's another smashed page that I did, which unfortunately when I ripped it, I didn't notice this. Someone pointed out to me afterwards, but it used to say hello here and now it says hell. which which does not at all go along with the adorable little vintage picture of this model in Paris in the least, but I just find it funny that I never even noticed it when I did it. Here is the incredibly hard word search puzzle that was February's activity. It took a couple days for me to do, and it is super hard. The one in the spring edition is not that difficult. I actually, just so you know, I actually created the puzzle using like an online puzzle generator, and I realized I set it to like very, very difficult. And now I realize the error of my ways now, and I will never do that again. So here's the spread, my gratitude spread for February, in these cute little cups. And I actually had completed the entire month. I was really proud of myself. Here are my memory keeping spreads for February. This is a page dedicated to my friend Kelly. Here is me and Mr. Crafty doing we were going for walks in very, very frigid weather. And we were really trying to be like on top of our exercise and that when we were in Texas. Here's my first art journaling spread, and I went all out. I was like, cover all the page. This is this year's goal, was the spread, was the prompt for this week. And then this one is transformation, which I felt like I just loved her, the picture of her, and I cut her out and used her as my model for that prompt. And then here's a photo of me standing on the sidewalk, which I deliberately took this photo knowing there would be this beautiful white space that I could add text to after. And I did. This is actually something I did in the photo editing app. And then these are stickers. And that's my word for the year. So, well, I actually have 2 words for the year, but this is one of them. One of them. So here's week 2 art journaling spread. These are photos that I used from, like, I printed them out on my photo printer. They are actually from, like, this is from 2013 and this is from 2013. Yeah. I met Mr. Crafty after this happened. So this happened in May, and this was a date we went on in early October. So they were very close together, I just realized. So I was using like ledger paper and scraping paint. I was doing a little more artsy stuff with these. This spread is week 3, and then this prompt is I heart you, and it's a dedication to New York City, which I heart very, very much. I included Lucy here because for me, she was really my first impression of what New York City was like when I was a little kid, even though technically it was filmed in LA. On a sound set, but to me, she embodied New York, and she was so glamorous. I loved Lucy so much. So I felt like she was just such a big part of what New York City was to me as I was growing up, and later it was Friends and Seinfeld, and so it was just like a little honoring her in that. And then here is she traveled so far, and I grabbed this picture from Pinterest, as I did actually all of these photos as well. And it just, I don't know, I think their photography is better than mine. So I just thought it was like really cool, and I'm like, hey, I'm going to use someone else's photography. because I love this photo and it's been on my Pinterest board forever. This spread, which is all about pockets, is Faith and Someday. Faith, this reminded me of the little sparrows. It reminded me of the scripture in the Bible about the sparrows. And then this was the library card pocket that I completely covered in scrapbook paper and then would use this for my journaling. And then this was my little journaling spot here. And again, I have another pocket. And this is actually a little photo that I took from Pinterest of a really cute property with little lights on it that would be hopefully my someday. This was March. This was my favorite of all the girls I made clothes for, my absolute favorite. And mostly it's because of how unique their clothes are. So they're all made from scrapbook paper. This particular one looks like a Pantone color chip, and it even has a paint color on it. And I stamped it and then cut it out so she had this cool design on her skirt. This is scrapbook paper that had like, it's wood grain and it had like words in it. So when I cut it, the word daring just ended up perfectly on the top of her blouse. Then this was like a mixed media paper and I stamped it. These pants are like a map. There's like a really faint street map. And I wish these were real clothes. I just think they are so cool and so Project Runway to me. This is scrapbook paper that happened to have these little bits of other papers. It's from like an older scrapbook project I had done where I'd been made a little pattern of paper I glued on top. And I happened to cut it for this dress and it looks like a belt. Everything just was so effortless in this particular spread. I put the little pencil in her hand and added my little embellishments. And I absolutely love how this turned out so much. Here's my documenting page for March. Here are my lists for March. Here was my bingo. I was very successful in getting bingos completed for my months. I actually completed the January bingo as well. I just haven't placed all the markers in their spots, but I love this. This one was mostly just squares. I didn't go crazy with other shapes or stickers. This activity this month was doing these adorable little tags and just embellishing them, which I thought ended up being like one of my favorite things to do in the book was just embellishing objects. The spring edition has Easter eggs that you would do something similar to that. Here are all my little acorns for March. I have to go back and fill these out. I was really good staying on track. I was actually doing one a day, and then once we started getting back on the road and traveling, it got away from me. So I feel like it's close enough that I could go back and fill these in and not feel like I was cheating the system too much. Here's my memory keeping spread for March. This is an adorable photo of Kelly and I went to the Kate Spade outlet while I was in Arizona for a week with her. And we ended up liking the same bag and we both fell in love with these tassels. Kelly ended up treating me and purchasing a bag for me. So we have like twinsy bags. And I took a picture of them on a little park bench outside the store. I thought that was really adorable. And then here's Kelly and I recreating a scene from one of our favorite TV shows, which is King of Queens. So we were in the restaurant and having a good time. So I love these memory keeping spreads because they already have like pre-done pages for you. And then you can choose to add extra embellishments like I did here and here, or this book copy. Or you can just use exactly what we put down for you. Like this element was part of the page. And then I just added some glitter stickers. This is already here on the page. I added this and I added this. This is here as well, and I just added that. So it's like we've already done some of the work for you, so they're not completely blank. I love that. I love that it's so easy to just embellish if you choose. These particular pages are really interesting to me because I kind of, during March, I picked out the prompts after I decorated the pages. I just went through them and tried to find the one that like matched what I had done. And this one ended up being words, words, words. I used a whole sheet of word strip stickers and just put them all over the page. This one is Planner Girl, and I listed out, after I was done doing this, I listed out all the planners that I'm currently obsessed with. So they are on that one. This one, again, I had used this, which I loved so much. I loved the colors. I ended up finding a prompt called love in there. So I was like, that's perfect. It's the heart. So I put a scripture from the Bible about love on this page. And then this one I did during a late night crafty club. And it was this handwriting sample. It came in a little pack of ephemera that I bought from somebody. And it's this little boy's handwriting, like he's practicing his script. And I ended up finding a prompt called letters. And I mean, I could not have been more perfect. This particular one, same thing. I finished it and then I found the prompt numbers. And it ends up having all of these numbers in it. So it was just, it was serendipity. It was awesome. Here is a spread dedicated to The Outsiders, a movie that Kelly claimed she never saw, which I thought was tragic because I thought every little teenage preteen had seen this movie. So we actually watched it during our little craft weekend together. So it was really fun. I have not seen the movie in years, but we printed this out on her little pocket printer, so now I have a picture of The Outsiders in my book. This one is my favorite things, and I dedicated this spread to Mr. Crafty. This is symbolized with these little fingers that are decorated with little smiles and a hat, which I found this little thing in my stash. I have these strips of paper, which is a very popular technique with scrapbookers that I love, love, love. And I just added a sticky note with journaling on top. This one is every day, and this is actually a pocket in here with a little card and the number 9, which is stapled here, and that became a journaling prompt to talk about the number 9 and how I see it all the time, have seen it my whole life pop up. Sometimes on a daily basis, multiple times. It's crazy how that number seems to follow me around. So here is my Luscious Fluffy Winter Edition that's all complete. And then I made myself a scrapbook divider, just trimmed scrapbook paper to letter size, punched it, and added it. So that's the separator. I need to add tabs to the top that say, or to the sides that say this is spring. And then as you'll see, here are my spring pages. So this book has winter and spring together on here. And I'm so excited that when I'm all finished, this thing is going to be a big, fluffy monster. It'll be interesting to see how it all looks when on these little discs. I'm guessing by the time I add my summer and my fall, I'm probably going to have to upgrade to the next size up on these so that it'll all stay. But I'm looking forward to fluffing it up with craftiness. And as I mentioned before, this is a project that we work on during the late night crafty club. I have one of them scheduled this month here in April. I usually have at least one scheduled per month. There's an international late night crafty club edition this month for my international girls, which means I get up at 4 a.m. and do my crafting because it's like a normal time for them, because many of them come on weird hours to be part of the American late night crafty club. So you are welcome to join us for that, but I will be making more videos as well, just pre-recorded videos where I just record my little craft sessions so that you can watch along while you craft in your playbook, if you so choose, and feel like you're crafting with a friend, which is absolutely what I want you to feel when you watch my videos. I appreciate you watching this video. I hope this inspired you, and if you haven't grabbed a copy of the Crafty Club Playbook, I hope that you do so. They'll be linked below in the description box. You can grab the Spring Edition or the Spring Edition bundle. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye, everybody.